Hello and welcome to Reasonable. In today's video, we will explore 3 different reasons for China's growing influence in the Middle East. While the United States has a well-known and documented history of political activities and military operations in the Middle East, less is generally known about China's influence in the region. And that is for an obvious reason, since China has played a much smaller role in the Middle East in recent history compared to the US. Nevertheless, recent years have witnessed a notable shift, with China's political and economic influence in the Middle East gradually gaining momentum. And it's important to note that these developments didn't occur suddenly, but instead were the outcome of a gradual shift in regional dynamics, economic connections, and geopolitical factors. That being said, let's delve into how China is expanding its influence in this region. A key factor contributing to China's increased influence is China's deepening economic ties with a range of Middle Eastern countries. China is a substantial importer of oil and natural gas from Middle Eastern nations, such as Saudi Arabia, Iran, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. The region's oil and natural gas reserves are of great importance to China's energy security and economic development. By securing access to these resources and diversifying its suppliers, China ensures a stable energy supply to fuel its growing economy. This aspect may also be considered a vulnerability, given that China's reliance on oil imports from the Middle East is significant. However, this also makes China a crucial customer for Middle Eastern countries. For instance, it's estimated that over 80% of Iran's crude exports are directed towards China, contributing to about 1 to 1.5 million barrels per day. And in 2021, China and Iran formalized a 25-year cooperation program, strengthening their bond as strategic and economic allies. Additionally, approximately 25% of Saudi Arabia's crude exports are destined for China, accounting for more than 1.5 million barrels per day. And roughly 15 to 30% of Iraq's oil exports, equivalent to an estimated 500,000 to 1 million barrels per day, also make their way to China. In total, an estimated 50% of China's overall oil imports are believed to originate from the Middle East. Although estimates vary, this roughly translates to an economic value of $300 to $500 million each day at present. Next to the imports of oil and gas, China's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative project has played a pivotal role in its engagement with Middle Eastern countries. The Belt and Road Initiative is a massive Chinese infrastructure and economic development project aimed at enhancing global trade connectivity. The initiative comprises 2 main components: the Silk Road Economic Belt and the 21st Century Maritime Silk Road, and it seeks to build and upgrade transportation, energy infrastructure, and telecommunications networks across Asia, Europe, and Africa. By funding and constructing essential infrastructure, China intends to bolster trade, foster economic development, and forge stronger political alliances with partnering nations. Now, let's move on to another reason for China's growing influence in the Middle East: the exports of Chinese weaponry and defense cooperation with Middle Eastern countries. China has emerged as a substantial arms supplier to various Middle Eastern nations, including Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Egypt, Iran, and Qatar. While its exports are not on par with the United States, their volume is steadily expanding. According to a report by the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, China's arms exports from 2017 to 2021 accounted for 4.6% of the global total, making it the 4th largest arms exporter in the world, after the United States, Russia, and France. While this may still seem like a small portion of the global market, China's involvement in the region has been expanding. For example, in the period from 2017 to 2021, China significantly increased its arms transfers to Saudi Arabia and the UAE, registering a growth of 290% in the case of Saudi Arabia and 77% in the case of the UAE, as compared to the years 2012 to 2016. Moreover, China is also considered a substantial arms supplier to Iran. Although precise figures are often elusive, China's exports to Iran encompass a variety of military equipment, including missile technology, unmanned aerial vehicles, and conventional weaponry. However, due to the nature of the arms trade and the sensitivity of such transactions, detailed specifics on the extent and types of supplies are not always readily available. Furthermore, joint military exercises also play a role in China's growing influence. In recent years, China has conducted joint military exercises and training programs with Middle Eastern nations such as Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Iran. These exercises underscored China's intention to play a significant security role in the region. And lastly, the uncertainty arising from the war in Ukraine has provided China with an opening to expand its influence in the Middle East, especially in terms of arms supplies. As Russia faces huge economic and military challenges with its war in Ukraine, China can potentially capitalize on the opportunity to emerge as a significant player in the Middle East, particularly in the arms export market. Now, let's move on to the third and final way how China is growing its influence in the region: political diplomacy. China has regularly involved itself in diplomatic efforts in the Middle East, often positioning itself as a mediator in several conflicts. It is worth noting that in many cases, China actually has economic and political ties with opposing countries in the region. For example, China has expressed its support for a two-state solution and has previously extended offers to mediate discussions between Israel and Palestine. Although its current engagement in the conflict has been quite limited, this underscores China's dedication to positioning itself as a mediator for peace in the Middle East. China has also participated in diplomatic efforts to find a political solution to the Syrian civil war, although one could question China's objectivity in this conflict. Its contributions included hosting talks in Beijing and engaging with opposing parties to encourage dialogue and negotiation, unfortunately to no avail. Additionally, China previously backed the Iran nuclear deal, formerly referred to as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. In doing so, China aligned itself with a multilateral diplomatic solution to the Iran nuclear issue. And more recently, China has achieved a significant diplomatic and political success, or so it seems. On the 10th of March 2023, Saudi Arabia and Iran announced the normalization of ties, brokered by the People's Republic of China, with a joint trilateral statement citing that an agreement has been reached between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Islamic Republic of Iran. The published statement reflects intentions to resume diplomatic relations between both countries and reopen their embassies, as well as respect the sovereignty of states and the non-interference in internal affairs of states. After decades of enmity and a formal cutting of ties in 2016, the rapprochement has been hailed as a significant development in the region and a notable diplomatic success for China. However, the ultimate impact on the Middle East remains an open question, as these long-standing adversarial powers are entangled in a proxy war in Yemen and continue to support opposing sides across the region. In conclusion, China's influence in the Middle East is undeniably on the rise. However, it's essential to keep this in perspective. While China's presence and influence have expanded, it remains relatively modest when compared to the Western powers that have historically played a dominant role in the region. Ultimately, China's increasing influence in the Middle East is an evolving chapter, and its long-term impact is yet to be fully understood. Thanks for watching this video. Let us know what you think of our analysis in the comment section, and make sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos and updates.